Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is Birdbird. Oh, shoot. Birdbird, the no hair. Good hair, guess you'd call it. You shave a little bit. With another comic book market report for everyone for the week of July 10th, 2024. Now, today's market report's brought to you by me. We have no sponsors. Where it's just me doing these reports every week. So I hope you guys all enjoy what I've been doing for the past month or so, or I would say 2 months at this point. The markets, I try to look at some books like prior to the pandemic, some that may have had some big screams during the pandemic, and then kind of near the tail end to kind of see where just books that I had just forgotten about or maybe popped when they came out and have since settled down to earth. Some of these books I looked up prior to the show. Some of these we'll look at, like we always do on eBay to see if the prices have stabilized or if they've come down. But I have found that there are still some pretty good deals on books that maybe you're not really thinking of or are obscure. And there are some books that just are holding value. They haven't really gone down, they haven't really gone up since I've known about them. So we'll just take a look at that and just take it for whatever it is. I would say that the market is back to a collector's market versus a speculator's market, which is great. But yeah, if you guys do enjoy this podcast, these shows, please click that like button, subscribe. We are almost at 700 subscribers. Got a little ahead of myself there. And I do appreciate everyone's support throughout this past year or so, or almost 2 years, I guess you could say. 775 subscribers is pretty amazing. It's been a grind for sure. And, with your guys' help, we'll hopefully get to 700 one of these days. So without further ado, let's get into it. Yeah, every week's just kind of a funny week. It's, sometimes I'm shocked, sometimes I'm not. And it's always nice to look at all the old books that I used to, search for, the books that were like that hot book of the week. And it always happens, right? But, everyone always asks about long-term feasibility. And I think like 9 times out of 10, if a book pops and it came out the week before, just sell it. If you don't really enjoy it or enjoy the character, enjoy the art, yeah, just sell it. What's wrong with that? I would say let the market kind of decide what the price is for that book, just so you don't look back and say that, you're kind of manipulating the market or what have you. But, I don't think I could ever do that. But we'll see what the market report says here. So first book, I've talked about this book on past shows. I've talked about it probably on past market reports as well. But Silver Surfer Black #5, the variant 1 in 500, probably my favorite 1 in 500 book I can ever remember. I just thought this cover just did it for me. I'd say my most favorite cover out of this run though is the 1 in 200 from the same issue. It has this book came out, I think it was $800 like out the gate. And I don't know if it met a lot of retailers that bought 500 copies of this book. So it immediately had that quote unquote artificial, market, rarity with a 1 in 500. But I remember, yeah, again, like I said, I remember this going for 800. And then somehow found itself into Walmart packs. I know I was finding a lot of people opening up Walmart packs. I wouldn't say a lot of people, but, a fair amount of people opening up Walmart packs and finding this book in there in really good condition. And then people posting it on social media. The price went down quite a bit, from 800 to maybe 300 to 500. Donny Cates kind of stopped doing signings there. So, with that, in mind, I don't think this was really a sought out book after that kind of occurred. But let's take a look at the current market. I didn't really have any time to look up any prices for this, but Tormy did this book. So here's one, $53 for 1 day, 2 hours left. This guy wants 300 for it. I don't know if you're gonna get that. Yeah, 285. A 9, it's asking 500. That's, I guess, where people are going to be like, either I'm selling or I'm not selling kind of deal. I don't think I was able to ever get a 1 in 500. Oh, I did, but it came back a 9.6, so that was disappointing. Ooh, $300 for, that's probably a best offer, so that might not be true. 417, I mean, that's pretty remarkable for this book. 265 for a raw copy. 177.50. I think that's pretty fair. I just the fact that it's a 1 in 500, man. I mean, that's tough to sell for less than that. But I think it's a great book. It's a great series, and what I love about this book, and I've said this on past podcasts as well, is this book was one of the, I would say, the other miniseries to kind of get the Kingdom Black series going. Waiting a year for that, final miniseries by Donny Cates. I still this day think that Absolute Carnage is his best series ever because it set up the Kingdom Black so well. Well, but nonetheless, Silver Surfer Black, 1 in 500. I would say there's 0% MCU spec in this, but who knows? I guess we'll see. Time will tell. On to the next one. All right, hold on one second. All right, Young Avengers #1. This is always like on my watch list as far as like market reports, and I'll post about it on my Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, Ferbert the Nerd is my handle. But you should probably be subscribing to this channel more than anything, and liking this video for sure. Just kidding. Simple plug. Yeah, Young Avengers #1. I have a couple of copies of this I bought for $50 a piece. I don't know if I overpaid for those books, but they came back 9/8. And the last time I checked, they were going for around $250 to $295. Regardless of the spec on this, and I know that pumped up the numbers for the price of this book, this was a great series. It's got to be pretty tough to make a new generation team out of an old generation's name. The Avengers weren't very popular anyway, and I don't really remember what was going on during the time that this book was published, but I remember as like an older person, I guess, I was like, man, Young Avengers #1, that seems kind of corny. But I read the books, and it was a really fun series. It was really well drawn as well. And I think that's, with all the rumors that, trying to go younger and, it's already been casted and all that good stuff. I mean, I think it's kind of a done deal. It's almost like a safe bet, really. I don't think you'd be dumb to say buy this for $275 and at least break even. Man, that 195.63 is a nice number. Yes, I mean, send that bad boy over to CGC, and your investment's $200 with the possibility of at least making your money back. I mean, I don't know, man. That's why I'm not selling any of these books. I mean, even if I sold it for today's market price, which was $218.50 is probably where I think that's a fair price at today's market. I'll probably make quite a bit of money. There are other versions of this book as well. There's the Wizard version that's graded in 9.5. That goes for I mean, that's if you're going for the premium copy, that's the one to go for. Wow, 175 from Canada. That seems pretty expensive for shipping, but whatever. Yeah, even 200 for this book. Wow, that's pretty good. I would not go after this Young Avengers version, the white cover. Here's another thing too. If you are going for that white cover, just buy it in 9.8 because it's a cardboard stock. It's very hard to press, if not impossible. Wow, this is still going for. Oh, it's a newsstand. Okay, cool. That's kind of random. Okay, cool. All right, we'll go back to the report. But yeah, I think that's very cheap. There's not a lot of pandemic books to speculate on, but this book was $1,000 coming out during the pandemic. And I know we're slowly going for the pandemic, and I understand that, but man, I feel like this is an absolute bargain play if you're willing to risk $100. And worst case scenario, you sell your 9.8 at $100, take the loss, move on. But $200, I mean, I wouldn't be mad at that. You're gonna have to wait a little bit of time, but I think right now, if there's ever a time to buy, maybe wait a little bit more. But I mean, Young Avengers #1, I don't foresee that going any lower. Maybe 150 at the lowest point, but at that point, I think you're kind of just you might miss the boat. It'd be like buying Nvidia at 100 before the split. But nonetheless, here's the next one. This one is purely just for readers. This is I wouldn't put any MCU spec, and I remember when this book came out, first appearance of Black Winter, by the way, the Ribic variant, 1 in 25, I want to say. It's from Donny Cates' Thor run. I remember when people were saying, oh, Black Winter could come, the MCU. I was like, when? Thor was kind of coming into his comedic phase. There's so many other villains, I mean, I gotta assume just because of I don't even know why people thought Black Winter was going to go the MCU. And if you really want to be technical about it or just smart, villains don't last in these books, especially with Down and Cates. I mean, he killed off freaking Null, the greatest villain in our lifetime. Yeah, I said it. Anyway, so yeah, all that spec, and and that's when like I kind of myself thought about the ridiculousness of people saying that this guy was going to come to the MCU, and I'm not gonna name specific names because I don't remember honestly, but like that was when I was kind of like, wow, this sounds very. I mean, that's a very hot take when you have no connections in Hollywood, you have no connections at Disney or Marvel, and you're just assuming like it just takes so much for a character to come from paper to the big screen. So I don't think I ever made like a take like that, but if I did, I guess call me out on it. I doubt I did though. But anyway, I remember this going for like $400 in 2022 in a 9.8. Raws were going for quite a bit, but I thought the character was just good. I mean, like if you just want to go off of like, oh, this is a great character, yeah, he gets killed off like later on, but what's dead always comes back, that kind of thing. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at paying $400 for that if you really just were into it and gave into like the excitement of the character. But I I just I think Ribbick's a really great artist, especially for Thor. Um, but let's see what the market says. Holy cow, $75 for a 9.8, $100, $50 for a raw. Oh my gosh, that Captain Marvel book has gone down quite a bit too. All right, 150 for a 9.8 asking. Man. And I don't know like what is your price, I guess, for this book? It just kind of depends on like why would you pay $100 for this? Rarity. It's a cool cover and it's a really cool character that could come back eventually, but maybe it just hits that nostalgia for you 25 years down the road, who knows? But man, 55, I wouldn't be mad at that. Hey, it's a 1 in 25, right? So collectability is still there, but that's pretty amazing to me. But there you go. Thor number 5, the Ribic variant, 1 in 25, Black Winter. We're about 20 minutes into this podcast of the show. I want to thank everyone for your support, like, as always. And hit that like button for me. Subscribe. Tell your friends about the show. Tell them that, like, hey, this nerdy Filipino guy that does shows every week who, you know, moonlights as a comic book podcaster, does this show. You should really follow him. Anyway, that won't get anyone to subscribe to the show. Incredible Hulk number 340. I think I got that wrong. I think it's not Incredible Hulk 340. Let me just double check. Hold on. Incredible Hulk 340. Okay, it is Incredible Hulk 340. This is one of the most beloved, if my favorite cover of Wolverine. Is it the greatest Wolverine cover ever? I think so. It's been homaged millions of times. Swordmaster number 9 is the latest I can remember. I mean, how many Comic Con variants of this book are there? I think if you're an investor, like the 9.6 Newsies is the way to go. Last time I saw that sell for 960, or sorry, 260 and 9.6. That's crazy. 9.8s are going to go for a huge premium over that. But let's take a look at the market and see what's looking at. So 7.0 and then Mark Jeweller's newsstand. Wow, it's pretty impressive. $100 is a little high for me on that. I'm a little high on that too. $200, you're crazy. It's at that point you might as well just get it graded. Wow, how did someone sell that Newsy for? Sorry, it was a 9.0 Newsy. I apologize. It wasn't a 9.6. Now that I think about it. These are the ask prices here. It's gonna be really hard, I think, to find an auction for this book because I think people just don't want to give it up. But let's take a look at the sales regardless. So 85.75. I mean, that's a healthy price. I mean, this book isn't 40 years old yet, which when it does, I don't know if you're really old. But 125 for a raw copy, 160. I think people are getting this book to get it signed by the Todd father. 395. Wow, that's a really good deal. Or sale. Whoever sold this, you got a nice sale. Yeah, C94 for Tom McFarlane sign. That's a pretty cool. That's a nice place for him to sign to. Like, kudos to you. 94 for 305. That's pretty healthy. I mean, so people aren't selling this book really, like I think this is a book that is one that stays in collections because all it has is really the cover for it. But like, what a perfect cover. I mean, it's scary. Like if you're Wolverine, like I'd be freaked out. But he's crazy. So anyway, Incredible Hulk 340. I was right. It is Incredible Hulk 340. Going a little newer here, Cyberpunk 2077. This is my long-term pickup raws or 9/8 for under $100. If you can. I'm going in pretty high on this one. I feel it's a little bit of a better bet than my Swordmaster bet, but nonetheless, this video game has a long history of it. It came out horrible, or it came out the gate like with really bad, reception. They redid it, with a PS5, and it seems like it's gotten a lot of good pub. So I'll roll with that. I find these every once in a while in the wild. I think this is the only one to go for right now. There's a incentive variant that still goes for 1K, which I think is just crazy. I just don't think there was a lot. I mean, it's a dark horse book, right? So that's probably why it goes for so high. You're gonna have to wait a long time for this book to go up, but nonetheless, let's take a look at the market. Cyberpunk 2077. I just think it's one of those things when it crosses over to comics crossing over to video games. I won't say it's a sure bet, but it's a pretty high one. 360 for a very fine. That's weird. Maybe go to my comic shop and get that one. Maybe getting the whole set's a good idea as well. Let's see here. Give me one second. 2020. Oh, so this comic came out like during the pandemic. I remember I had like 5 copies of it. I don't know why I sold them, but I did. 360. That's the same one we looked at before. $39.99 for the whole set. $12.99. $114.55. Wow, that's pretty expensive. $79. That's a steal. I do that all day. I should have. This guy's still going for a lot of money. I never see it for sale ever. But let's take a look. Let's take a look at the market and see what it's doing. $114.55 listing. Best offer. So I'd probably offer him like $85. It's not too bad. 360. I wonder if I should buy like just 4 copies of that and just risk it. $89.95. I would think about that. Man, I really just want to get. I'm cheap. 96. You're crazy. That's like a $40 book. The fact that there's no shipping though, or free shipping, that's kind of enticing. Valiant Bear Comics, 780, 100% feedback. It's great. All right. Anyway, all right. So on to the next one. I did not share this. Sorry, guys. I keep doing that. All right. So like I was saying here, yeah, that's kind of the one that I think to go for if you guys are specking like me on this. But yeah, Cyberpunk 2077, long-term hold. Good luck. All right, Blood Rain #1. I found out about this book this week. I was just kind of perusing through comic book video games, and there's like Resident Evil's out there. There's obviously all the Nintendo, Mario, Zelda, and what have you. But man, Blood Rain #1. I remember this game when I was a kid. I didn't get into it because it was a little too raunchy for me, but they did make a comic book of it, and it's by a pretty small publisher. There's a ton of different types of ones of these. Blood Rain comic. I don't know which one to exactly get, but I guess let's just have like the market says, like we always do. So I think there's several publishers too. And there's a bunch that are limited to different like print runs as well. I think this is pretty cool. There's a retailer variant, 2005. So digital webbing is the one you want to get, in my opinion. I don't think there's. Oop, hold on. Yeah, it's my big ugly face. Okay. Double signed. Yeah, that's a pretty cool cover, man. $89.95 is pretty expensive though. And kind of the one thing I was like, I don't know about this book. Like, I don't know what's gonna push it, but like if you're looking just for a rare book, so 51.19. I mean, I think it's not a bad one to go for. It's I don't know if there's any projects coming out. I wasn't gaming on that, but I mean, this is pretty healthy. So you can imagine like this just may grow over time, or it may just hold its value. But I thought it was a cool book to go after if you're into video games or if you're into video game spec. Um, I don't know if there's any video game like sequels to this coming out anytime soon, but nonetheless, Blood Rain #1, pretty cool comic book, and it's a great cover too. Um, yeah, kind of a fun one to look for sure. You guys all know this book is The Authority #1. This was $4.99 and 98 when it came out. I remember buying a $4 copy of this and sent it into CGC, and I got a $9.90 out of it. I sold it. Like I just let the market just take it. And I think this was a great move by James Gunn. It's a great story. One of my most favorite stories I've ever read. And there's a lot of really rich dialogue and all that good stuff when it comes when talking about this game, or sorry, about this comic book. It's dipped down quite a bit from to around 250 to 299 and 98, but I guess like where you're banking on, right, is that can you stomach $250 just like Young Avengers? And it's like, would you rather have this book or Young Avengers #1, hoping that it comes to fruition in like 2 years or so? Because I mean, they haven't even come out with like one new James Gunn movie yet. So this could be like 4 or 5 years down the road. I haven't heard of any casting. I haven't heard of any filming at all. I mean, they just started filming what? Green Lantern. They just started filming like Superman. And those properties haven't really caught a bunch of buzz yet. So this might be a longer term hold if you're like, trying to find a 98. I would say like try and get a really high grade raw. It's easy to see the color breaks in this book. So I think it's not necessarily easy to find an attainable near mint copy, but it's easy to determine whether or not it's a potential 98 too. So yeah, and I've been looking for I always look for this book all the time because I've thought about rebuying it. And it's a great story. If you never read The Authority, like read it. It's good stuff, man. I really do. I really enjoyed that book. Star Wars: Dawn of the Jedi. I remember when there was option news for this book. I think like a year ago or so. Like this went up big time. I remember Newsies or the Newsy one's the one to get in my opinion, but this goes from 199 to 500. I don't know why, but let's take a look. Star Wars Dawn of the Jedi, 4-star #1. Hold on one second. I think it's probably because it's the variant, but yeah, that's crazy. Okay, 139.95 for a sold one. This one's the one to get in newsstand. I believe. Let's see here. Someone's crazy. They want 900 for this. I know there's only 20 on the census. I feel like that's pretty amazing. I don't see any other copies of this book though. Wow. There's a 9.6 going for 22.50. I don't know, you guys. Do you think I should bid on this? Yeah, screw it. I'm bidding on it. 31 bucks. 37. 34. I'm gonna win. I'm totally gonna win. I probably won't win. Yeah, so I mean, this just skews like the prices and stuff. So I don't really know if that's an accurate number, 500 bucks. But based on the rarity of this book, it's a 1 in 10 and only 26.98 on the census. Like maybe 500 isn't a bad dollar amount, but I'm not specking on Star Wars. But if you are, I want to put it out there for you guys. But Star Wars Dawn of the Jedi, the Force Storm #1 variant. And last but not least, going back to digital webbing publishing, TMNT, or number 24, it's a TMNT story. I don't think it has anything to do with continuity, but man, whoever did this cover, and I forgot the gentleman's name or what. I just never heard of the guy who did the cover. I want to meet you and I want to get a sketch because this is better than Eastman. I know that's really mean to say, but I thought this cover was just awesome. Um, my favorite cover, I think, for not Eastman is probably like the Aaron Bartley and like metal cover from Ronin #1. But when I saw this book, or when I saw this cover show up, I was like, wow, that's a beautiful cover, man. I also like, people make fun of me because I like fonts, but like, I mean, I just dig them. I love how it says Digital Webbing Presents like at the top, kind of that old school, like looking like remember like first Shang-Chi, like Marvel Presents with the deal on top. It's really old school, but it's done with blue, so it pops even more. And if this was Leonardo, I think they'd be like the perfect TMNT cover. But the fact that I think it's Raphael, yeah, Raphael because of the size, right? Um, it doesn't. I mean, I think it still works, but man, if you had Leonardo with like the blue, I think that would have been like perfect. Either way, I think it's a cool cover. I haven't read the story ever because, well, it's a really expensive book. It's 98 bucks raw, and the one they showed up raw, it had a little corner ding on the side, so it's not a 98. And a 98 copy is asking for 350, which it's one of those one-offs, right? Like it's like AutoZone. It's like investing in AutoZone stock. It's just an outlier. Like I don't know any comparables to that. It's like here's real estate for you. It's like buying a 7-bedroom home in the middle of like Bellingham, which is a kind of secluded area of northern Washington here on the Puget Sound. But nonetheless, TMNT Digital Webbing presents number 24, a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle story. And that concludes our market report for comic books this week. Again, I want to thank everyone for watching, taking the time to watch this episode. If you like the show, click that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. I'll keep doing these to try and keep people in check and to try and see what the market's doing and maybe find some good deals out there. I think for sure that Thor #5 Ribic variant was like the one that was like really shocking to honestly. I mean, $100 for a 9.8 for a 1 in 25. Beautiful cover. But hope you guys enjoyed the show. You'll have a great day, and we'll see you next time.